Thank you for joining today for All Things Business and Technology. I'm excited to have you on today.
Thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
Definitely. One of the first questions is always, what does Robert do? Who are you and what's your role in technology and business?
Well, I am currently by title the VP of IT and the CIO for Konica Minolta Healthcare, which is a technology medical healthcare business. And my role is to kind of guide and lead the support team, the development team, infrastructure, and security teams for all our backend systems and support and guide as needed our product and customer side.
Oh, awesome. Now, knowing how technology is today, with what you're doing, and it's awesome to see you moving up because I've seen some of your career. Now, what was that journey like starting out in IT?
So it was interesting. I started my schooling and I thought I wanted to be an engineer, electrical engineer. And then I was influenced by a few friends that went into the technology sector back in the 90s when Microsoft was kind of kicking off a lot of the certifications. So I did the full certification track for Microsoft. And then I started doing consulting work. I started as an associate consultant. I moved up to a consultant, to a lead, and then to a technical lead, and then to a project lead and project manager. And so at that point, we were consulting with various companies and different technologies, whether it was infrastructure or implementing back then their exchange systems or their Lotus Notes environments or web development. So I was fortunate to consult and interact with companies all the way from cargo shipping companies overseas to back then Time Inc., which the web version of the company. So I was fortunate to get a lot of those experience from banking, retailing, and consumer goods, and also the web. So it was quite a journey. But honestly, I wouldn't replace it because back then the foundation of knowing systems and knowing backgrounds on how systems were developed, we kind of lose that a little bit today.
Definitely. I think everything with technology has evolved so much. You mentioned that you're in like the healthcare field. What problem are you or your company solving within the healthcare?
It's interesting. So I love the healthcare industry has always been pretty significant and relevant, right, to society. Our company does we have PAC systems, which are picture archiving systems. We develop software and hardware for X-ray systems. So we have full anywhere from just panels. Remember the old X-rays? So those kind of moved into what they call computed radiography and now digital radiography, where it's just a digital scan that's able to enable those images. And then we interact with other companies at GE for our products. So our company is in the forefront of medical facilities, radiology clinics, and then we've also kind of shifted now into the software space, which is zero footprint viewers that can render those images fairly quickly with a zero footprint on the front end. And so we build the data centers to kind of enable facilities to kind of have those products and services in the forefront.
Wow, that's so you're pretty busy as the CIO and this it's no longer called digital transformation. What would you say this new technology is and how it's changing within the healthcare?
That you bring up an interesting point. I guess in the IT space, I always joke that I'm married to my wife, not to technology, because technology is always changing. So rightfully so, the digital transformation, right, has been significant in the way we do things and how technology has evolved to kind of expedite and become more efficient and more effective in the products and services that we sell. So from that perspective, yeah, digital transformation went all the way from film to what we do now is digital radiography. Back then you would have to discard the films. Now you can expose hundreds of times, right, against that plate and then just digitize that image. And again, we're evolving with, and other technologies have been used to kind of analyze those images along with the radiology technicians to kind of identify markers quicker And so we'll see probably the next evolution of how quickly we can get readings and scans of, exposures pretty soon.
Wow. Now, if I was starting off today and wanted to get into the role that you're going into, what are some of those things that helped you become the CIO today?
I think it's perseverance and working with teams. So as we know, every company has the specific business units, and there's always requirements, whether it's building a CRM system, integrating an ERP, or building an ERP systems, creating data centers, right? There's always specific needs, whether it's customer facing, back office. And the solution is, where are you in that space to provide the solutions, the guidance that's needed to kind of be the consultant to those board members and saying, okay, maybe this is the best way to do it. And again, not be married to a specific technology, but kind of be open to, you have specific experts in different areas to make sure you consult with them and you kind of bring the best path forward as a company that kind of move off. So I think that helped me kind of continue to grow. And, just like everything, you have to relate to actually doing the work of building data centers yourselves to, so that kind of helps you with the individuals that work for you, work with you, and work alongside of you as well.
Awesome. Now, with that being said, you talked about how you came from a consulting background and that helped you get into a next role and the next role. How important is that for like career development when we're looking at taking on a consultant role? Maybe it's not the right role, but you're adapting to technology and so forth. How did that help you grow?
That's a good question. And interestingly enough, I would not change that aspect of my career in a million years. I think the consulting role gave me the aspect of quickly changing environments and needing to provide solutions to customers, and really staying on your toes as far as technologies and innovation. But it also gave me the perspective of the whole sales order process, the profit margins that consulting companies need to make, managing team members, managing customers. So all those are, learning lessons as you continue on your lifelong learning career path to actually get to the next level. So when you get to a full-time job, you understand where the vendors are coming from, you understand where the consultants are coming from, and you understand where you need to be from a company perspective. So it's an invaluable experience that I would recommend. If that is a path that's available to actually pursue, it just broadens the spectrum of your knowledge.
Wow. That's a good advice. One of the things that's pretty important to me is some of the people that I had along the way to help me with my career. How important is a mentorship and your networking? Is that important to you on the IT side of things, or is that just more what we hear in business books and so forth?
It's interesting. The different aspects. I do a lot of volunteer work on the education side as well, and the concept of mentorship from a teacher to other teachers or incoming teachers is completely different, or from administration, and that's a more serious, significant role. But you're right, you do have to find. I think mentorship is very important. The guidance that I got was from one of my colleagues, when I was director of information technology and he was a CIO. He kind of took me under his arm and kind of exposed me to, that boardroom table, the exposure to our Japanese counterparts and what we need to do there. So it is critical. Unfortunately, our culture and technology, or it could be here, it's not as conducive to that. So you do have to find somebody that's willing to spend some time with you, mentor you, kind of walk you through it. I think we're a little bit more reserved, at least on the Western side of, is he going to replace me? Is he going to take my job? As opposed to, I like to have my experts in specific fields. I call them rattlers that are very solid in their technology. And if I can help them grow, that's great, and I push for that. But if they can also help me as well, and I can mentor them, and the management skills or complement each other's skills so that we both grow, then that's helpful. But I think it's kind of a lost art and not as prevalent as it used to be.
I, I definitely agree with you on that. In our culture today, it's hold on to the knowledge. If I give you the knowledge, then my job might be gone. We're losing the aspect of community. Now, if I was starting out in today, how would you suggest or advise someone who really wants to have a mentorship and knows that we are in this Western society that is always wondering, like, is someone going to take my job or so? What would be the guidance that you would give to a student?
It's there are companies that are conducive to that type of learning environment. I joke around my family and my kids here. I said this is a learning environment anyway when we run into conflicts or concerns. But learning environments are usually consulting firms as well, right? Where you kind of, depending on the level that you start with, you always have a mentor or somebody guide you to get to the next level. And so, like you mentioned, or like we talked about before, consulting firms are typically more conducive to that because of the expected growth of the additional knowledge, whether it's technical, whether it's supervisory or managerial. Um, so getting into a consulting firm is probably a good way to start your mentorship or at least learning about mentorship. And then learning about yourself, again, self-awareness, self-check of how do you become a good teacher or a good mentor to kind of propel that forward. And on the flip side, it's also parenting and what we are learning in schools as well, right? Some of the colleges and they might not be conducive. There might be, you have to be the best. And so, right, that culture needs to change a little bit to be more kind and more supportive of, we're all kind of in the same arena. So we need to kind of forward and push each other, to succeed.
That's good advice. Knowing that we do have that individualism, what are some of the books that you would suggest that someone who wants to get into this industry, what are 3 books that you have found that is useful for yourself?
So one of the most influential books and so I always call them, maybe not that I would suggest to read, but always to suggest to kind of keep an open mind because philosophies have changed over the years, right? So the interesting concept is how your mind works and it thinks and how we visually see things, how from an auditory perspective, we listen to X amount of tones and what our capabilities or limits are. So that was pretty interesting as to how our minds work. And then, Elon Musk was another one that I really enjoyed, as well as it's kind of the radical of how far do you have to push the needle to get where you need to go, from his batteries and, the space, when he was creating the industry and even in the car industry. So I think he was probably one of the first ones that, kind of coined the disrupting technologies that were coming because he was kind of disrupting markets from that sense. And I'll give you a forward one, which is my classical favorite. I think everybody has read it, which is the John Covey, right? The classic, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That I read that book recently. I think maybe about 6 months ago or so again, and the concepts don't change, which is they're everlasting, I guess is a way to say it.
Yeah, that's one that I definitely suggest that everyone, especially my nieces and nephews, and be like, hey, this is a book that you should have like your Bible. This is something that you should always go back to because those concepts really help in both business and technology. So it's principles to live by that really drive us. Knowing that technology and the career that you're in right now, what's one of the business challenges or technology challenges that you did not expect getting into this role?
I think the evolution uh, of security and cybersecurity. I think that whether it's become more prevalent or it's just the ease of going out in the market and getting nefarious code. I think especially in the healthcare industry is pretty significant enough to kind of have to take notice, right? And then implement the right policies and governance and the right tools to try to mitigate as much as possible. So I think that's one of one of the key takeaways from, if I had to do it all over again, would security be a specific track that I would kind of lean towards? And the answer would probably be yes.
Well, yeah, we definitely know how security is. I'm actually at the RSA conference right now, and I'm seeing some of these security platforms and layers on layers and layers, and you sit back and think of like, yes, it might be tedious and hard, but someone like yourself who should be proud of how your company is doing with security, how you guys have some of the most recognized awards in the last couple of years. Those are things that are important, and especially in healthcare, we have HIPAA, we have all these other things that are going on. It's awesome. Now, if we get back into your current role, where do you see the next 2, 5? I usually say 5 to 10 years, but technology has changed so drastically from your internet to web 2.0 to digital transformation to IoT to now we're running with AI.
Yeah.
um, so how do you foresee the next 2 to 3, 2 to 5 years of your industry moving to?
So I foresee it with a little bit of nervousness. Again, you know, uh, massive computing is quantum computing is right around the corner, right? To crack uh, passwords, and the possibilities are there. The ability for AI to really whether it's biased or unbiased, generate code out there that may raise an eyebrow. Uh, so it's interesting, challenging, and also I would say we have to be a little bit careful as well as we move forward. But we'll see probably over the next 2 to 5 years, the introduction of more adaptation of AI right into every aspect of technology in our lives. We're seeing it in the movie industries, in healthcare, and again, just kind of be conscious and put in the guardrails as to, some of the concerns that have been shared out there with the use of AI. Uh, Companies do have to take notice as far as what guardrails, because you really can't stop the motion going forward as far as AI is concerned. But what measures and what governance and should I be putting around it to kind of adopt it? So that's going to make a significant impact over the next 2 to 5 years. The other side is, how will companies start to use maybe some of that technology? So machine learning will probably be specifically and localized as to, I don't want to use it in a public environment, right? So how do I create the tools to actually use it with all the data sets that I have, and creating those storage arrays? So it's pretty likely that the big players that we do have in the industry, the Azures, the AWS, those huge data repositories will be there to support implementations of AI and ML for companies specifically, to kind of harvest their own data sets and kind of make it useful for them to be competitive going forward. So I think that'll probably be one of the biggest trends. The other trend obviously will be, the evolution of security and cybersecurity and some of the tools. Like I've seen, one of the biggest challenges I've always seen with security is there's so many tools out there. And so you have to kind of do a mix of all the different tool sets, and then that requires additional expertise and skill sets, right? To manage, it's not one holistic. So maybe there will be an evolution of AI with the security tool sets that are available out there to kind of give you that holistic approach from a company perspective. So hopefully those will be things that maybe will happen in the next 2 to 5 years.
Wow, that's it's coming fast. The 2 points that I definitely want to let everyone know that I got out of that is definitely the password. I didn't even think about how AI is going to affect and be able to dictate what type of passwords that people are able to write, and how to actually make them more secure. We obviously know that don't put our birth dates and stuff like that in there. And then also the biases that we see. I think we've touched upon with Google, and how we've seen the biases really affect and have to go back and recreate stuff, because we still are working with humans have to program this information. So, well, I think that honestly, like there's so much that I got out of this. I want to continue this conversation, but knowing that we're in this place, I definitely want to make sure that I give you an opportunity to express what is one question you wish I asked during this conversation.
David, I think again, thank you for the invite. It's my pleasure to kind of share my thoughts and I guess my career growth. I think you really touched upon a lot of the aspects that have covered my life and industry and technology in general as to kind of where we move forward. Uh, so to be honest, I don't think there's any particular area that you didn't touch because there's so much out there in technology. But I do appreciate the opportunity of talking.
Thank you, Robert, and I look forward to continuing our conversation and having you on again.
Great. Thank you again.
Have a good one. Cheers. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you'll tune in next time. For more information on how we can help your business, check out our website at sigmaways.com. I'd love to hear your feedback. Please send me a message with any topic or questions you want me to cover. Also, if you're in the world of business and technology, I would love to have you as a guest. Please hit the like and subscribe button below and stay up to date on the next video. Once again, I'm David, and this is All Things Business and Technology. Cheers.